I wanted to start with this particular mantra from Yajurveda, which is very relevant for startup ecosystem. Maybe every startup should chant that every day. Dhanam Agnir, Dhanam Vayuhu, Dhanam Surya, Dhanam Vasuhu, Dhanam Indra Brahaspati, Dhanam Varnamashnute. So, which means money, if you have, can buy all the Dhanam Agnir. If you want LPG at home, you need money. Dhanam Vayuhu. Those who suffered with ventilators during COVID, you understand the importance of ventilators or oxygen, right? We are selling. If you go to Eastern Himalayas and Sikkim, people sell oxygen in cans. They go for expeditions. So even to get a proper air, we need to shell out money. For some reason, it has been demonized. Money creators. We are all money creators. All startups should think that we are all wealth creators for the country. Any country, even those countries which are not militarily powerful, if they're economically powerful, rest all the powers will come. And startups are the power engines. That's how I see. If I were to compare, today we are talking about Icon Bharat, comparing the ancient and modern. Our startups are no less than saints and sages. If you look at Kashyapa or Parashara or even any other saints, they were scientists par excellence. They were also saints, but they were all scientists. So that's how they shared knowledge, they created knowledge, they shared with the world, made India's GDP 35% way back in 1780s. So that's how science and spirituality went in hand. Today, if you look at any founders, you ask them, why did you start this company? Or why did you solve this problem? The first thing they say is, no, someone in my family was suffering with cancer. I wanted to solve. They could have gone to job, they could have gone to any big MNCs, got good, decent packages, but they're staying back. Because I come from an incubation center called Krishnadevara University in Ananthapuram. This is the first state-run university to get Atal Incubation Center. So we were like a guinea pig for Niti Aayog. So whatever we wanted to do, they were trying with us. There was no precedence of setting up a Section 8 company in academic institutions, especially state-run, because state-run universities are not well funded, they don't have quality faculty compared to other institutions. And Anantapur itself, ecosystem is very, very, very poor. A lot of migration was happening from Anantapur to Bangalore. But let me put it on record, after we set up the incubator, 50% of my startups came back from Bangalore and Hyderabad, set up their shops in Anantapur. Which means the local economy is getting created. When they come, they're not just coming alone, they're bringing the talent, they're bringing the IPR. And they set up the industry, they provide employment. So all this spin-off happens when you create startups. Why startups? Why can't be MSMEs? There are so many MSMEs in the country, but we typically use the word startup. There's a difference. There is a well-intended difference created by Government of India. Startup is speed. And that speed comes because a decent IPR technology component involved in that. And they have a social angle to that. Startups, when you ask any founders, they don't. If you ask any ice cream parlor owner, why did you set up an ice cream shop? They say, there's a good market here, I can make money, right? When you ask the same thing to a founder, why did you start a millet-based ice cream? The story is entirely different. They say that people love ice cream, but it's a sugar-coated, it is a poison in essence. I want to solve that problem, right? So there's one ice cream company here called Siri, which makes milk out of millets, and with that milk they make ice creams. That is the difference between a regular company and a startup. There's a social element to that, and that we should not forget. That's why I told they are no less than saints. So, but who will nurture them? So that's where my expertise comes in. Move to the next slide. This is my current organization where we set up in Mangaluru, because after setting up several I directly go to 15th slide. I don't need to run. Just keep running it. These are all, again, I tell, just stay there. So this is my footprint. Being in Anantapur, we are able to nudge 50 plus academic institutes to convince them incubators are necessary building blocks for economic development. This is the thread that connects you to the society or industry. Academic institutions are supply side. They create ideas, they create innovators and all. But where is the demand from? It is from industry. It cannot be push side, it has to be pull side. All the incubators across the world, which are very, very successful incubators, be it Israel, be it UK, be it Bay, SI, they're all industry driven. Unfortunately, only in India, the incubators are supply driven. So that is the design gap. And with my experience of setting up these many incubators and helping them go for different models of finance and such things, so we started doing in Mangalore. So that's how I got connected with Stevie, where we wanted to see some of the technologies can help industries. And incubators, when we started thinking how to support lakhs of startups, is it logical to grow one mango tree or create an orchard or to create a land where any crop can be grown? So we shifted, there was a paradigm shift in our thinking that let us focus on creating incubators rather than creating startups. And each institute, if they start creating incubators, they themselves can go to the industry, bring the problem statements, hack them, get the money. So my latest example I can tell you is Tumakuru University. Tumakuru is a state-run university in Karnataka, where India's first plantation-based incubator came. It came from market side, because Tumakuru is the largest exporter of dry coconut in the world. But we don't have innovation center. What my grandfather's grandfather did, copra, even today, same thing there. There is not even I'm not even talking about radical innovation. I'm just talking in incremental innovation, nothing. Instead of a bull doing the work, a 2 HP motor is doing the work. Beyond that, there's no innovation. So we thought we should set up an incubator. Immediately, 2 philanthropists came forward, committed 3.7 crores funding. No government support. And it was intentionally designed that way that market has to drive it, not governments, not colleges. Market has to drive it, and college and institutions can provide the support, technology support, IPR support, or validation support, or some kind of testing support. This is what the education institute can provide. We got 25,000 square feet of working area. Already 30 ideas came. Let me call it not ideas, problem statements from the industry. So this told it came from FPOs, farmer producer organizations, it came from agriculture bodies, it came from high net worth individuals. See, this is a problem we have. Can you solve it? Okay, now we know, we are clear. The moment the day I make a product, it's in the market. So my life cycle of a startup is very, very less. The graduation is quick. So this is where incubation centers really help. So it took us 5 years to crack this model. For institution, we start with policy. So I was talking to some gentlemen, do you have IPR policy in your university? And it is a small research, asking individual questions to different university heads, colleges. Do you have a dedicated IPR policy which is working? 80 to 85% say no. They don't even have a policy. Which means if somebody develops IPR, what are you going to do with it? Who will share the money? What if loss happens? Who will bear? What kind of arbitration come? Nothing, zero knowledge. Second, do you have autonomy in your incubator? Do you have a Section 8 company? And I ask simple questions like, do you know there is something called social stock exchange? Recently, Bombay Stock Exchange has come up with a model called social stock exchange, where you can raise money through social stock. Means incubators can raise money any number of crores through a systematic stock exchange. You can put your company in the stock exchange, register yourself, put a project that I am going to solve. Let's say cervical cancer screening in Mangalore district for 25,000 women in 20 days through technology. I want 50 lakhs funding. It's called zero coupon. There's something, you can Google it. Zero value, zero coupon model. Okay. So corporates can put money systematically. Government has done. There's a lot of policy innovation that happened at government side. Up to 2019, incubators were not even part of CSR Act. Only after 2019, all the government supported incubators came under CSR, which means that incubators can raise money through philanthropy. And I got confidence. There was a Kadiri, there's a place in Andhra, Kadiri Narasimha Temple. One government college principal came and gave 1 lakh check to me. So this is my salary. I see your incubator as a temple of innovation. Instead of putting this money in temple, I'm putting it here. Can you support women entrepreneurs? If 2 women entrepreneurs come with 1 lakh rupee, they can in turn support 100 such women. Look at the paradigm shifting even in the society. They are not looking incubators as just like innovations, IPRs. No, it is an engine of socio-economic, ecological change makers. Triple bottom line. That is the shift we are talking about incubators. we are talking about ideas, innovations, but there is an angle which I need to cover, which is social angle, what incubators can help us with. Lastly, when India was the president of G20 last year, when India took charge from Indonesia, the first thing they did was recognizing startup as a inseparable body of economic engine. So they recognized Startup 20 as an independent vertical, not under Business 20 as a Startup 20. First time we introduced, and I'm happy to say that I was one of the co-chair for that, along with all the members from NASCOM and others. So I was also part of the body that authored the world's first ever startup policy, okay, for the globe. So all the 20 countries, G20 countries committed $1 trillion investment in startups. Why would they commit? Because they all realize that startup can be game changers, right? They can solve plastic problem, they can solve building problem, they can solve earthquake problem, they can solve defense problem, right? Because youngsters, they're like crazy, right? Right? They can solve any problem provided we give them support. So that's the paradigm shifting happening in the globe, not just in India. I've been to Brazil this year in Startup 20 event. They can't speak English in Brazil, okay? 99%, at least we are far off, better of them. They're very near to America, but they can't speak English. They speak Portuguese. There is something called gaming arena, as big as T-Hub. Gaming arena, just gamers, 20,000 gamers building games every day. I was thinking, what is there in the games? I know only Super Mario. what better games I can get? Somebody was doing a gaming and rehabilitation. Somebody has cerebral palsy. The neuromuscular movement is restricted. There's a small gaming with VR. They can dance. There's a points. Right? They can walk. They can actually play. Use cases are so many use cases. Even driving. Now you get a driving lesson with a car. Can you simulate it? So this is how there are like Brazil is far ahead of us in gaming. So every global south country is looking startups as a solution for the economic problems. So to that extent, incubators play key role. That's how we built this model. Last year, the team from Bhutan government sent a delegation to Anantapur to study the model. I asked this question: why? There are so many wonderful incubators out there. We don't want the best. We want average working model. We don't want first rankers. We want someone who can do in a resilient way and build self-sustainable incubators. So this is what incubators can do for all of us. Academic institutions are there. Then if you belong to any other districts, new districts, you can approach them and they'll be able to help you raise a lot of money for you. Right? So, and we build this kind of model where at institution level, we help them build policies. At incubator level, we run a lot of programs so that eventually in India, we need to have at least 10,000 incubators. Right now, there are only 1,200 incubators which are highly disproportionate, which means for every 1 million people, we have 0.8 incubators, which is 10 times less than Israel, where for every 2,000 we have one. For every 10,000 people, we have one incubator. And for every 2,000 people, we have one startup. Small country, right? That's my personal goal. And I'm using this platform to announce that so that I need more partnerships, more strengths to build that. And India is not simply sitting there. We are also building innovation ecosystem for next 30 years. Do you know that there is the largest experiment that happened in the world that is called Atal Tinkering Labs? 10,000 government school children are given, each school is given 20 lakh rupees to build creativity mindset of creativity, innovation, problem solving at engage. So that when they grow, they don't hanker, they don't gribble, they don't complain. They are not on the side of problem, they'll be on the side of solution. That mindset shift is happening in India. This budget, they have announced 75,000 government schools, which means out of every 3 schools, 1 school will have innovation center. Now, taking this cue, a lot of philanthropies like Deloitte, they started adopting schools, tribal schools, social welfare schools. They started setting up ATLs. And we helped 3 such ATLs to be set up in one in Hindupur, in Andhra Pradesh, because my earlier I was in Andhra Pradesh. So I was helping philanthropists to set up in innovation centers in school levels. They don't become startups, but tomorrow they don't become complaining citizens of the country. They are solution makers. That's the investment we are putting for the next 20 years. That's the change that is happening in this, Sanutana Bharat. Okay, okay. Sanatana Bharat taking the cue and building Sanutana Bharat with innovation as a game changer for next 30-40 years. So with that note, I would do I have just one concluding remark. How this icon Bharat has a relevance. I'll give an example. 2005 there was a Nobel Award, okay, for China. This Nobel Award was for discovering a drug for malaria. And this lady was given a task to find out how ancient Chinese were not having malaria. More the forest, more the dirtiness, more the thing, more there should be more. But they were able to handle malaria much, much earlier. So she found out, she was a botanist, she's not a drug scientist or anything. She found out that ancient Chinese were drinking a particular drug, particular plant leaf, making tea and drinking every day, especially during monsoons. It eventually found out that it is artemisinin, and she got Nobel Award for that. So it's a traditional knowledge. Drinking a particular tea as part of a tradition could get us a Nobel Award. But are we thinking in that line? Okay. So yesterday I met one Keralite. He is from a district which produces which has got largest cardamom market. Okay, mandi. Okay, from Kerala. I met. He's a doctor. He has developed a toothpaste made from cardamom extracts, and it goes on explaining this particular cardamom extract will kill a particular bacterial set of bacteria, which has a direct implication in breast cancer. They have found out that 40% of the breast cancer patients have this particular bacteria in their mouth. And they clinically validated this by chewing cardamom, which is again ancient practice, by the way. Now, I'm not talking about Rajnigandha. I'm talking about typical cardamom take and have it in mouth as a mouth freshener. Could be a simple practice, but the science behind it is it kills a particular red complex bacteria that has implications in breast cancer. Now they got clinical validated, CDSO approved, and now the product is in the market. Look how ancient knowledge can be revisited and build new innovations in modern science. Right? So with that note, thank you for your time. Thank you.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to My Startup TV.